And I want to share a story for you that really, really touched my heart recently. I work quite a lot with young women, and I guess because it just feels like that's what I'm called to do. So young woman is anybody who's younger than me. So anybody under 55. But there's a beautiful 16-year-old girl that I'm working with, and I love her with all of my heart. She's one of many little girls or young women that I'm working with at the moment who are self-harming. And I wrote about it in my blog, my Soul Shift blog, a couple of weeks ago. This little girl is only 16 years old, but for the last 4 years, since she was 12, she's been self-harming, and she's been attending psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers. She's been dredging up her past to try and fix her future. She had got to the stage where it had become like routine to sit in front of someone and just rattle off what her story was without her actually being attached to it. And it wasn't actually solving anything for her. Her mother was fraught and anxious and had come across the principles and found me via the 3PGC. So her mother called me up and we had a little chat about her daughter, and she told me all about her daughter, who's just such a beautiful soul. And I said, you know, when I work with people, I want to talk to them first, because I want to know that we want to work together, rather than it being the mother wants me to work with someone or the father wants me to work with someone. The person, the soul, has to decide that they want to work with me. Nobody else. That soul has to decide. So the little girl phoned me up and we just had this magical conversation. And we decided that we were going to work together. Our first call, we just chatted about life, about her school, about her college, about her hobbies, what she enjoyed, what she didn't enjoy. And I just waited, and on the journey enjoyed everything that I was learning about her. I wasn't waiting, listening to get right in there with the principles. Right, there's my point. That's when I introduced the principles. I was just listening for that wisdom to bubble up inside of me that says, oh, have you thought about this? Or have you thought about that? Because I know there's no blueprint. I know there's no certain sentence I'm meant to say. I know there's no fixing to do. And at that moment, when it bubbled up in me that I was to say something, I just said to her, do you know, you just sound like me. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, you just sound like me. I said, when I get upset, I eat pies. And she burst out laughing. She says, what do you mean? I said, well, years ago when I get really, really upset, I would comfort you. And, you know, I would often say to my husband, don't upset me or I'll go and eat a pie. And he would just laugh at me. I said, we all have something about ourselves that when we get these feelings of being uncomfortable, we look to fix them. And we think we can fix them by doing something outside of ourselves. Some people drink, some people watch porn, some people gamble, some people over-exercise, some people self-harm. And she says, oh my God. I said, I said, all you're doing is you're looking for something to fix the uncomfortable feeling that you're feeling. And your feelings can only ever come from your thought in the moment. And so we had a chat around that. 2 weeks after our first chat, she hadn't self-harmed at all. She hadn't done a thing. She was wonderful. Her mum said she was sleeping better, she was getting up, she was vibrant at college, and even though things weren't quite the way she wanted them to be at college, she was coping. She wasn't running away from anything. And then there was one night She didn't sleep very well. She was extremely tired, very, very tired. And a couple of things transpired at college, and she self-harmed again. And I was due to speak to her that night. And when we spoke later on that night, I just said to her, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We all see things clearly, and then we forget. We go from clear thinking to cloudy thinking. And we talked about her spiritual essence. We talked about the fact that she wasn't mentally unwell. She was just responding the only way that she could in that moment to what she thought she had to do. She was feeling her thinking and thought the way that she had done it before, the brain pops up, oh, this is how we relieve this. And she followed that route because her mind was busy. So I spoke to her again a couple of weeks later, hasn't self-harmed, getting on fantastically well at college, being invited to all sorts of parties, feeling so much better about life. Taught her mum something that I had spoken to her about knowing where your feeling state is. So she can now tell when she's in her head or if she's in her heart. And so she was showing her mum this on a train journey. Oh, Mum, I have to show you this. This is how this works. I got a text from her mum just yesterday, and it said, thank you, Jackie. I wish I'd found you sooner. My daughter's fantastic. She's so calm, and she's starting to understand where her feelings are coming from. 4 sessions, soul to soul sessions. I'm just talking to her as though we're the same age. I'm talking to her as though I don't know anything more than she knows. We're having a conversation about life. And in that conversation about life, there is nothing but love and kindness and space to understand how we create our moment-to-moment experience of life. All our feelings are created from thought, all of them. And when you start to see that in yourself and you start to see it in others, there's nothing there but compassion.